there, everybody. Jessica here with day 40, the big 40 of my 100-day meditation journey. Just a week and a half away from halfway done with doing the videos for it. And just got done with the meditation. I was a bit apprehensive at the beginning because I was already feeling sleepy, and I remembered from yesterday that it just didn't last very long before my body just really needed to rest. And I thought, well, said yesterday about allowing what is, so if I need to lay down, I'll do that. But I made it all the way through. Quite surprisingly, with ease. It went very fast, and what I was thinking about and pondering during the meditation, what was coming up for me was a conversation that I had earlier today. And I got to talking about something that always tends to get me riled up, and that happens to be the subject of a community that I used to belong to for most of my life, and how disappointed I was with some of their actions or inactions. And it's a topic that I could talk about for days on end, on what's wrong with how they operate, how they need to change, and it gets me into a very I don't say negative energy, but just not an uplifting energy, not a creative energy, and not one that I want to be in all the time. And so I realized that despite what kind of energy there is, that there is a lot of energy around that topic, and I'm very clear in that area on what it is I didn't like about it, and what I think was wrong with it. And so I want to harness that energy and be creative with it instead of destructive. And so thinking about, instead of going on and on about what I don't like, what is it that I would like out of that kind of community? And how can I be about creating that in the world? It's an oldie but a goodie of mine is that I've talked about a lot is, don't talk about what you're against all the time. Talk about and create what you're for. So I'm really interested now in how can I harness that energy, and instead of trying to create the opposite, which isn't really supporting new creation, talk about, I know what I'm against, but putting all that aside, what am I for? What is the kind of community that I would be for, and how can I step into a community like that, or how can I create a community like that? And what dawned on me is I'm already doing that. I'm already creating that kind of community with my Come Alive tribe, and a lot of stuff started coming through to me on how I can expand that kind of community, not just the tribe itself, but that kind of community, that it's already happening. I'd had the idea before, and I put it as a brain task. I went to work on it with my head of how do I make this happen, and that's not how this kind of creation works. This kind of creativity is something that just happens, and that's kind of how the Come Alive tribe came to be. It just kind of happened. I said I wanted to create my own community. Trying to just make it happen out of thin air was not happening well, and then the Courage Collective came along, and it seemed so easy, and it was already done up, and so I joined onto that, and then she kind of pulled back for her own reasons, and I thought, well, that's great. And now I have this group of people already put together to move forward on and really make it my own, and I did that, and the kind of community that I would want to create, that I would want to be a part of, it's already happening, that I didn't have to force, manipulate, move things around in a specific way. It just happened. And now the idea is building on that. What's ways I can build on that? How can I make that, expand that even more? How can I make that even greater? So that energy of creation feels much more validating, much more expansive than the energy that I've spent in knocking down and criticizing this other community that I spent so much time in, so much effort, and had so much hope for. And I feel completely disappointed by that because of my own doing. I had expectations that they did not meet. And so the disappointment is mine to own. But rather than just dwell in the disappointment, I want to harness that energy and put it into creation, into a community that I want to be a part of and invite others to be in a part of as well. So, is there something like that for you? Is there a topic that, when it's brought up, you could just talk for days on what's wrong with it? Is it a political issue? Is it what's wrong with the Republicans? Is it what's wrong with the Democrats? Is it what's wrong with the current politician in office? Is it gun violence? Is it youth these days? Is it what is the topic for you? Is it bad drivers? Is it bad management as you think the city has? Or is it, the local school system and education in this country? What is that topic for you that when it's brought up, you're off to the races and what's wrong and what they should do? And now, instead of getting on that soapbox, start to make a list, not from creating opposite of what you don't like, but you have a clean slate. And what is it that you are for when it comes to this topic? What is it that if you could just instantly create in your ideal what the situation would look like? What are you for when it comes to that? Then you get to look at, how can I do this in the world? How can I make myself a part of it? How can I spread this kind of thing that I am for? How can I be that in the world? How can I be a part of it? How can I create it? Where is it already happening that I can insert myself and join up? So harnessing the energy that you already have for the topic and making it a creative energy to bring about the kind of world that you would like to see with this issue or any other issue. So back again to an oldie but a goodie, but what are you for and how can you do it in the world? That's it for day 40. I'll see y'all tomorrow for day 41.